As we venture, continue to venture into the SEC conference schedule, we get an opportunity to go on the road and play against a Florida team that I got a chance to see play the other night against Alabama, and obviously we know they're a talented team and have a tremendous amount of respect for Billy Donovan, who's done a great job at Florida. And we played these guys last year, and it was a tough ball game. We lost in overtime, and of course they were in the Final Four. So it just tells you, the state of their program. They've had some tough losses, but at the same time, they're a very talented team. Casey Hill, Finney Smith is a guy that really killed us last year. I thought he was good on the boards. He had a double-double against us. Hit some big shots. He can step inside, step outside, and of course Michael Frazier is a guy that can put the ball in the hole. We know he can score from the three-point land. He can put it on the floor, and they got a good basketball team. So it's a great opportunity for us, but it's a tremendous challenge, especially on the road. But we're looking forward to the opportunity to play Florida.
Mike, you look at Florida. I mean, it's not a typical record: 11-9, 4-3. I know they lost a lot of guys. They were preseason top 10. What do you think's happening?
Well, they played a tough schedule. I mean, one thing about Billy, he hadn't downgraded his schedule. He always going to play people, and so they just came up short on some of those games. But Florida's still Florida, and they missing some guys, some veteran guys. We talk about the guys that they lost. I mean, they lost a Player of the Year in our league. So it's understandable you're going to have an adjustment period, and so maybe they hadn't adjusted as quick as Billy wanted to. But don't think they don't have any talent. The Walker kid is a McDonald's All-American, so they have some players.
Yeah, Walker's kind of struggled, but I guess he had a pretty good game the other night. What's your take on him?
Well, he's athletic. He's really gifted. He can run the floor. He can handle the basketball. And as most freshmen, you got to make that. You got to have some adjustment time. And if you got other players that are struggling, a lot of their guys have been in and out. I think they've been had the injury bug going on there as well. And so now they're, I'm sure Billy is pressing all the right buttons to get them going at this point in time.
Do you worry that you might be playing them right when they're starting to get it together? Is that a concern?
Say it again.
Do you worry that you might be playing them right when they're starting to get things together?
Well, I think all teams are kind of hopefully getting it together at this point in time. You've had a chance to play. We've played 7 games in conference play. You're almost halfway in conference play, so hopefully you settle in your rotations. You know the players. They've got some seasoning, non-conference, and some conference games. The key is just getting guys all on the same page, offensively and defensively. And some of the statements I've seen where he said they've been inconsistent. Well, that's our story. We've been inconsistent at times, and so we want more consistency with our defense and our offense execution.
Maybe it's not good for your blood pressure, but we've been playing a lot of close games and winning them. Does that do something for you from a confidence standpoint or whatever to play that many and win titles?
Well, we hadn't really just shot the ball extremely well, and so I think one of the things that has been constant here, especially in the last couple of games, is our defense has been pretty good. It's been good enough to win games, and that's what you got to find ways to win games, and we've done that. You flipped the script last year. We weren't making those plays, whether it be offensively or defensively, and we lost some close games. So it's good to see our guys don't panic in those situations, and we continue to hopefully can get better in terms of executing and maybe not have it as close, because there are some games where we can actually pull away, and whether it be a turnover or a missed free throw or a defensive assignment, we got to get better in those areas.
Corey Williams recover from?
Well, yesterday we had a day off, and he was still a little feeling a little ill effects, but he'll practice today.
Just with your bench in general, I know Bobby and Paul's had to play a lot of minutes. Are you feeling any better about the bench now than you did as a season?
Well, we got to get those guys. They got to get back out there and hopefully play well for us, so we can give those guys some rest periods. I mean, they can't keep going at that pace, especially with the games we had. That was quite a few minutes. So I'm sure they were going on fumes there at the end. But I have the utmost confidence in our guys off our bench. I think Beard has shown that he's ready to play. I thought Moses Kinsley really had a lot of pop in the game the other night. I thought that period he was in there with Bobby, I thought it was probably a big difference in the game, because it just seemed like the scoring of Tennessee getting to the rim, I didn't see much of that, and they was only getting one shot. So it just seemed like we were protecting the rim a little bit, played a better brand of defense with that group. And even on offense, there was a little flow with it as well. But he's a guy that's played well. Jabril's got to play well. Our guard play has to continue to pick up. I think that's going to be pivotal for our basketball team.
That Portis and Kingsley look together?
They play well. They play well. I mean, they can play better, but they play well.
When you talk about consistency, especially on defense, is it more of an execution thing or an effort and intensity thing?
I think it's more. It's probably more the both. I think it's both. I think we a lot of times we're putting our big guys in situations they shouldn't be. We double up on ball screens and obviously and I look out and we're switching. And so now you got a big guy there with a guard. It can happen from time to time. So to me, that's execution there. The effort part of it is I just thought our defense got a little stiffer in the second half when guys were penetrating and getting into the basket. There were a couple times they got some layups. But in the first half, again, I just thought we had some breakdowns, and that's because of the effort. You got to have more than just a second and third effort. I'm looking for that fourth and fifth effort, with our basketball team. And not only that, I want to see the tempo being pushed. I don't think we're pushing the ball at the pace I want it to be.
Do you think the SEC is getting short shrift a little bit on the national stage? And why I say that is John Calipari said the other day that when teams in other conferences lose road games to maybe second half of the conference schools, it's the great depth of the league, but in the SEC, that's a bad loss for you. Do you think that maybe the SEC is getting a bad rap there a little bit?
Well, we're still fighting that perception a little bit, I think. That's perception, but I think it's getting better. It ain't just going to leap all of a sudden in 1 year, but I think it's getting better because I think if you look at our league from top to bottom, there's not a place on there where you say, hey, I can go get me a win. That's why, I marvel at when people talk about the scores, the closeness of the game. I mean, you look around the whole league. I mean, the scores are really, really close. I'm watching Mississippi State play Ole Miss last night. They're up by 14 in the second half. They're up 14 in the second half. Ole Miss found a way to win. And so it just tells me that the strength of our league is when you talk about the teams that are at the bottom and they're playing teams like that on the road, it tells me our league is pretty good.
I guess the last time Arkansas won there was at Florida was 95. You were there. Do you remember?
I don't, Bob. I don't remember. I don't, Bob. I don't. I don't even remember what happened yesterday, Bob. How can I remember that?
I know these guys didn't play in all those games. You didn't coach in all the games since then. But how tough is that when you haven't won somewhere in 20 years?
I don't know if I've ever been anywhere 20 years to coach. So I to answer that question, I just know Billy's done a good job of creating a great environment down there. I mean, the guy's won back-to-back national championships, so he's had a great environment down there. So he's done what most schools want. They want to make it their place tough for teams to come in and win. And so evidently, I guess we hadn't came back on the right side of the ledger, and let's give them some credit too.
The fact that you broke a 20-year losing streak at Kentucky or Arkansas did, does that make you feel like, well, hey, maybe it's our time to do that in Florida too?
I just want us to keep playing better, playing good basketball. That's all, Bob. I think if we do the things we work on and shoot the ball well, we take care of the basketball, which we didn't do a very good job against Tennessee. We rebound the basketball, get to the free throw line just as much. We'll be right there. We'll be right there with him.
You say shooting the basketball, and he's really been struggling shooting. Is it just a matter of him getting better looks? Or
who's this now?
Antoine.
Well, I think he puts pressure on us. I think he presses a little bit. I think the other night was probably the most. He was in a much better rhythm in the second half. And you notice he shot a couple of three-point shots, but the shots that he made were the ones where he caught and just, I think, 15, 16-foot shots. And sometimes it takes a guy that shoots the ball something to get him going. and because I think a lot of his is anxiety. He puts the time in. In practice, he shoots the ball well. So I'm just hoping it's just a matter of time that it carries over into the game, because we're seeing a lot of zones, and so you got to have somebody to knock shots down. His shots are going in and out. I mean, it ain't like he's shooting wide left or wide right. I mean, they're going right in there, and so it's just a matter of those falling in. You got to play. You got to shoot it with confidence.
Florida, do they press much, and would you expect?
Oh yeah, they'll get after us a little bit. Yeah. We played them here. They'll mix it up on you. So they have the athletes to do it.
You think they even do it a little more just because Tennessee's had some success?
I'm sure they'll press. I'm sure they like to play up tempo. So it'll be two teams that'll get after each other up and down the floor.
Look at Michael Frazier. He was a big three-point guy for him last year. Now he's got a little bigger role. What's your take on him?
I think he's a dynamite player. I think he's one of the more deadliest shooters in the country, and he's added to taking it off he's putting it on the floor as well. And then when you got the Casey Hill kid that's really jet quick with the basketball, they do a good job of screening and getting the ball to Frazier. I mean, he's a very, very good player. And then, like I said, you got Finney Smith, who's a pick and pop guy. He can go post up. He's very, very versatile for their basketball team. So they keep the flow open. There's a lot of cutting. So we've got to do a good job. Eli Carter, a transfer from Rutgers, he's starting to find his stride with this team. So what you're starting to see is those guys getting healthy, and now you're getting more guys that are more ready. The Horford kid, the Murphy kid as well. So you got some depth. We got a good basketball team.
You mentioned big man covered guards and the switches. How do you want? Is it the screen away out high?
I think once if obviously we're not getting the trap, so we're forcing the defense, we're forcing the offense way out, and so it's up to the forward to get back, to his guy, get back to the open guy, which is going to be a big guy, and what is happening is the guard is leaving and the forward is out there, so and all that is just some technical things that we've got to correct.
Playing like a Georgia, tough spot, and SMU, do you think that gives you guys more confidence going somewhere where Arkansas hadn't won?
Our guys feel good about themselves. They feel good about themselves, playing whether it be here or anywhere. They feel good about themselves, and that's a big part of playing basketball and playing winning basketball. Is you got to feel good about yourself. You got to play with confidence, and these guys do. They think they're one of the better teams in the country. Now, are they playing like one of the better teams in the country? We're finding ways to win, but I know we can play better, and that's why when you talk about January is happening right now. Hopefully, we're playing a lot better in February, and hopefully in the March maybe playing some of our better basketball.